This is me, Neil Oates. We're going to be going over secrets to a successful open house. Some of them are secrets. No, I'm just kidding. None of them are secrets. What it is going to, today we're going to challenge the way you all think about doing open houses, all right? And all of this comes from myself. I've been in the industry. This is the only thing I've done for the past 14 years. No second job, no side hustle, that's it. And this is how I provide for my wife, my son, and the life that we live, okay? And I just wanted to share that with you so you know who's in front of you. This is how you, and I always put this up front, this is how you can find me if you want to. And now this entire presentation memo is going to have it. I'm also going to give you a link, a bit.ly link at the end, a super short, super easy. And a lot of it, of what I'm going to do is going to be the same way, the same approach that I take towards my open houses, okay? And we are going to get, this is about a 3-hour CE course that we're going to get done in about an hour, okay? A little less than an hour. So it's going to be fast. But it is going to be on video. Go back and watch it. Go back and regurgitate as much as possible. Now, something that I want you all to be appreciative of. Be appreciative of your leaders and your affiliate, or I always call your allied resource, because I've been doing this and I go across the country doing this, and there are not a lot of brokers or a lot of title agents who are doing and who are creating and providing the things that you all have access to here. Okay, we're going to skip past the objectives, right? Because the real objective is how to have a successful open house, all right? Now, this is indicative of all of us here in the room. But let me ask, who's been in the industry for more than, well, for less than a year? Anyone been in the industry less than a year? Okay, and I forgot, this is super interactive, okay? So you all have to, like, it's only as good as you guys make it. So who's been in the industry more than 10 years? Okay, so 10 years, you all are my co-presenters, all right? Who here is currently doing open houses as a part of their business? Who previously did open houses? Okay, who has done open houses and stopped? This is even if they were sucky, whatever, right? Okay, all right, good stuff. Yes?
I'm not allowed to do open houses in my community.
Okay, so I'm glad you say that, because there is, so do you only specialize in one community? And that's it?
At the moment, yes, but most 55 plus communities, they don't do it.
Okay, so that's why what we do is we can do private showing events. And that's where the same thing, because for instance, in Miami, where I'm from, a lot of the condos don't allow open houses. So we do private showing events. And what we do is we stack. I make sure that weeks in advance, I go to the security guards, the gate person working the gate, if it's man-gated, and a security guard gated, and I'm letting them know, hey, on this date, I'm going to stack all of my showings back to back to back. Now, it just so happens that the majority of my showings are going to be in a block between maybe 10 and 10:30. And I'm just having everyone come out. And so, and even to the public. So I'll say private, exclusive showing event or mega market exposure, something like that, right? So remember, there are ways that, there are rules that say what we can't do, but there's always first or second time you get a slap on your wrist, you say, I'm sorry, it's not an open house. It is just, I'm scheduling showings so that I don't inconvenience the residents or the guard gate for all these other times, right? So it's all about how you say what you say and frame it so it's a benefit to the other person, not to yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so why do we do open houses as agents? Why do we do them? Interactive session. To please the seller. That's the first, okay, that's the first one. And to get buyers. Why else do we do open houses? To network. What else?
Create content for yourself.
See, you're thinking like a marketing, see, there you go. But you're not thinking like an agent. And what we need to do is we need to have more agents think like marketers. Okay? Because in real estate, we hear, what's the 3 words that we hear is key in real estate?
Always be.
Nope. 3 words.
Location.
Gosh, dog, man, you want to present for me? Location, location, location. As real estate professionals, it's going to change for us. For us, it's exposure, exposure, exposure. Okay, so real estate, the physical location, they're always talking about location. Location, that's the property. For us as real estate professionals, exposure is your friend. Exposure is the name of everything you do. Part of the reason why I dress the way I do and my logo is on everything that I do is for exposure. right? So that even when I'm not somewhere, I'm there. So exposure. So here's the real reason why, here's the primary reason why agents do open houses. It's because we've just run out of ideas. We've done a price reduction, we've done, or should I say a price repositioning, right? We reposition the property, we have put it on the MLS, it's on our website, what else do we do? And that's when we're going back to please the seller and we're saying, okay, I could do an open house, right? And so that's what we do. Now, yes ma'am.
Like broker opens versus
Okay, so here's my position. So everything that you do, what is your intention for it? Exposure for what? To other agents. Now here's what I know. To other agents, there's no better exposure than what? The MLS. That's it. Now if the thing that you're going to do, remember, everything that you do, you want to have a plan and you want to be intentional about everything you do. I might do a broker's open if I have an exclusive property, but my broker's open is going to be so exclusive that I'm inviting the best of the best of the best in that neighborhood who has teams. So it might not even be just a broker's open. It might be where I might invite a specific team who sells a lot in that area. Right? I'm like, hey guys, I want you to know about it. And I'm doing that before the property comes on the market. Right? So I'm letting them have first access. This property is coming on the market in a week. I want you to see it, know about it, get it out to your sphere, out to your network, because chances are, especially if they do a lot of sales in that area, if I give them an in, maybe if there's a chance when they don't get a listing, maybe they'll say, hey, Neil, you might have a chance at this listing, right? So that happens a lot in my area. Now, here's the only reason why we should be doing open houses: to make money. That's the truth. If your primary reason for doing an open house is anything other than making money, you are doing it wrong. Now, making money doesn't mean that you sell the property at the open house. Making money means that your activities are going to result in income later on, like dollar productive activities or dollar producing activities, DPAs or IPAs. I'm not talking about a beer. I'm talking about income producing activity. If you hear me say IPA or DPA, that's either income producing activity or dollar producing activity. That's where we want to stay. And that's everything that we're going to go through today. Now, part of making money with an open house or making it a success is exactly what Daniel said. We go back to exposure, right? So remember how you just asked about brokers open. Do we like brokers open? My thing is right here. You can't see it, but what is the goal? What's the goal of your open house or brokers open? Okay, so I have a vision. I'm going to do an open house or brokers open. What's the goal? If the goal does not make sense, it should not be done. If it's an area or if it's a property where there's a broker's open every week and you know people are just going for the food and just to hang out and talk amongst friends, don't do it. It doesn't make sense for you. And then, of course, what we're really going to focus on a lot are the plan and the action, because a lot of us will have a vision to do an open house. We'll set a goal. We'll talk really quickly about this, but the plan and the action, that's what's going to separate the excellent few from the mediocre many. Okay? Now, I'm sure all of us have either held, but we've definitely been to horrible open houses, right? When you walk in and you're like, they opened the door and let us in. That's all they did. Put a sign up maybe in the front yard, open the door and let us in. Now, when I say have a plan, this is not what I'm talking about, right? This is a plan, but so let me ask you, if you guys want to go, if you're going to take 73, which way do you go?
West.
East truck.
So are we going left, right, or going straight? Right?
We don't know.
We don't know. And that's how many of us conduct and hold our open houses. All right. So we're going to go really quickly through the slides, but the action plan at the end and how we actually build a successful open house, that's where most of our content is going to come from. Now, many neighborhoods, especially in Miami, for the gated communities or even for some of the condo buildings, this is what it looks like on the swell area next to the road, right? Where you'll see, okay, we have Fox Real Estate, Century 21, Intero, KW, we have Prudential, but then I'm saying what's going to separate them or what's going to make them call you? What's the point of doing this? All right. A lot of the things, a lot of the activities that we do as agents, they're ego driven. Would you all agree? Not that any of us in here, especially someone who would put his face on a computer, not that any of us have egos, but a lot of the activities are ego driven that aren't IPAs or DPAs. And then it goes back to what is your goal plan for whatever it is that you do. Made me shake for a moment. I got warrants. Now, we talk about where should you market your open house? Where should you market your open house? Interactive session, I'm sorry. Where should you market your open house?
Realtor.com.
Realtor.com. Facebook.
Everywhere.
Everywhere is the right answer. Everywhere you are able to market your open house, you should be marketing it. Now, do you want to pay for marketing to boost a post? Do you not want to? That's up to you all as business owners. Those are decisions that you make. I can tell you that the most effective way is going to be if there's some type of organic engagement and shares, especially if we're talking about Facebook. The more organic and your post is and the more sharing that is done, the higher it's going to rank and the more people are going to see it. All right. So one of the things I know Daniel asked me, would you do a video? So I did a quick promo video while I was at Starbucks. Shot it, uploaded it, sent it to Memo and to Bobby. I didn't tag Daniel in it, but then when I was like, okay, maybe it didn't get out there, I looked and I already have 14 shares from their network, right? And then because of that, the number of views got really ridiculous really quickly. And so that's something you want to make sure that you're thinking about. Where are you going to market your open house? Now, maybe not in a 55 and over community, maybe not in gated communities, but for me, I believe that you have as many signs as you can to be obnoxious, right? Why do you want to be the obnoxious realtor? Because those are the ones that the sellers are going to remember. And while I'm obnoxious to you because your house isn't on the market, when you want your house on the market, who do you want? You want the one who's going to go to bat and just be just a little edgy and say, man, you know what? I couldn't stand Neil, or I couldn't stand Memo and London Foster. But they're the only ones I remember, right? Does that make sense to you all? And so,
putting out content, only ones calling, following up.
Yes,
only ones doing all that.
absolutely. So right here, now this is an extreme case, right? I'm not asking you to go and get a billboard, right? But what I'm saying is that your message should be everywhere that it can be. If that means, and part of this, when we go into the action plan, I'll show you a lot of this. Remember how we said what is the vision, the plan, the goal, the action? Where the vision is, everyone's excited, comes in and action. That's what really separates us from everyone else. Now here, you'll see a lot of this on the next one is social media, but our job is to be a megaphone to the marketplace, right? If you are doing an open house, everyone has to know, not so much about the open house, you really want them to know about what it is that you do. Because are all agents capable of doing open houses? Do most sellers assume that an agent is going to do an open house? If you go into a marketing consultation or a listing presentation, as you may call it, and if you talk to the seller, they're probably going to assume that part of your marketing plan is an open house, right? They're going to say, okay, you're going to do open houses, put it in the MLS. What else are you going to do, right? Well, I'm not only going to do an open house, I'm either going to do an exclusive open event or a mega exposure event, right? And it's all about just tweaks to the words that you use. So right here, as a megaphone to the marketplace, you want to tell everyone you know that you do open houses, but not just about selling the home or that property, also about building it into what you do, so that when you do open houses, everything that you do, whether it's the videos that you're going to shoot, the way you set it up, you want to repurpose everything you do. And I found there's nothing like video that allows us to repurpose everything we do now, especially since we're all walking around with video cameras in our pockets or in our purses with phones now. Okay? Now, right here, like I said, we're just going to run through this because the action plan, that's where it really is. How many of you are currently using Twitter, Facebook, Instagram for your business? How many of you are currently using any of those? Now, if you are not, I am not a Twitter fan, but my audience loves Twitter. So guess what I love now? Twitter. right? So that's one of the things, because when I started looking at where's my audience, where's my engagement, I get more engagement off of Twitter than I do off of Facebook. And when I had to listen to what my audience is doing for my open houses and exposure, I said, okay, well, let me start using hashtags, popular real estate hashtags. Of course, luxury was one, $1 million G was one, and then open house. So now I was like, okay, I guess I have to create an open house strategy for Twitter, and that was part of it. Are any of you using YouTube as a part of your business for real estate right now? No. I'm telling you guys, there's more opportunity in YouTube just because we're visual creatures, right? We love seeing, visual things. That's why IG has taken off so much. That's why videos are never going to die. All right, so being able to have a YouTube channel as a business owner, here's how we're going to do it. You're going to set up your open house. Make sure you have, if you do food, whatever it is, you want to make sure you get all through either with a gimbal or your phone and just do a video. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to, it can be shaky. You can edit whatever you want. And then you want to upload that video onto YouTube and just have it there, just as your part of your video library. Now, when you go into a marketing consultation or a listing presentation, guess what you have? Hey, I can tell you that I do open houses, or I can show you what type of open houses I do. All right, does that make sense? Yeah. So, and I don't believe there's a better video library than YouTube. The fact that you can go in and you can create channels, playlists, you can have a personal one. If you like wine, you can have a wine channel, and then you can have a real estate channel, or you can have one channel with different playlists. So I believe that if you're not using YouTube, and the reason I say this is because it's going to be a lot of work to have a successful open house. Can I tell you all that now? I probably should have started with. What you want to do is document everything you do so that sellers can see what you're doing, and then they can appreciate and they know, oh no, he doesn't just snap his fingers, she doesn't just snap her fingers and it happens. She actually works for me. Now that number of coconuts or commission that they're getting at the end of the deal, now it makes sense. It's justified. Everyone okay there?
Yes. Okay,
so action. We know that action is important, but there's a saying that if you climb to the top of the ladder and is leaning on the wrong building, you've accomplished nothing, right? So we talked about the plan. Now we're going to get into the action. Is what many of us do, or this is how our open house plan currently looks, if you have one. So what are some of the things that we do during an open house? Go.
Go to Publix.
Go to Publix for?
Buy the food.
Buy the food. Get balloons. What else? Call your title company. Spoken like. Get the house ready. Now, when you say get the house ready, what are we doing?
Candles.
Music, candle lightings. Okay. Staging. What else are we doing to prepare for our open house? What else are we doing?
What worked? I have a sports car and I parked it in the driveway.
Okay.
Flashy, gets the attention.
What now? May I ask what was the price point of the property, if I may ask, for where you're doing the open house?
$400,000.
Okay. Okay, now be careful. If you're in a $200,000, and I'm just being serious, if you're in a $200K neighborhood, that might not be the best fit unless you're looking for an investor who might want to come and purchase a property. You might speak to them. Okay, does that make sense? So we want to make sure that what we're doing for a property or for our marketing efforts actually align to our end goal. What else are we doing to make our open house successful? Door knocking. When?
2 days or the day before?
Either 2 days or a day before. We're door knocking. Hey, I just want to make sure you know that we're having this open house over here in a couple days. If you know a family member, a friend, someone who's interested, or if you even want to come by and see me, we want everyone in the neighborhood to come see us. We want everyone, not so they can buy the house. I don't care if they even look at the house. I want them to come in and see everything that we're doing from the marketing standpoint. I want them to be aware, especially the neighbors who are to the left and right and in front of the property. Just want to give you a heads up. I'm doing a maximum exposure event. You might call it an open house on Saturday from 10 to 2. There's probably going to be a lot of traffic because when I host, now we're bragging, right? Yes, we do big events, but we're also setting an expectation. Now, if you don't want any parking here, I'll try to have some cones. I'll flag it off because we want to be their friends. We want to be their allies, right? Also, because when the property is on the market and we start having showings, they're going to be the ones watching out for us. And if we're going to be doing any agent or company and we show up at the property, they're going to say, hey, Neil, hey, Stephen, hey, Joe, Jane, how are y'all doing? Yeah, you've been getting a lot of activity over here. I saw someone here last night after 7. I didn't think it was right. What time do you have the property open until? Well, we have it set on whatever from 8 to 8 or 8 to 7, something like that, right? We want to make them friends. So now when they say, you know what, I don't like the fact that they're selling the house, or I don't like people coming through, but I like the agent. She's pretty cool. She comes and talks to me. Yes, sir.
Question. I don't do a lot of open houses, especially not in homes. I don't get a lot of homes. I
Okay.
mostly condos. But one of the things that I used to do when I had a listing that was a home is that I would do like a pre-open house only for the neighborhood.
Okay.
Only for the neighbors, usually a happy hour, something like at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Invite them over, telling them, listen, I know you're not looking to buy a house, but I want you to help me sell it.
And so that's the same thing. So that would be, we would call it a twilight open. We would do a twilight open event. Now, usually we do them for the higher tier properties or for gated communities. Yeah. Higher tier open, and we would say on this date from 6 to 8, you're invited to this exclusive event for neighbors, friends, those who live in the community. And here's why. I want you to choose your neighbor. Right? I'm not saying I want you to choose your neighbor. You know everything about it. Why don't you come in and take a look? And what this does is it eases, and we know the seller knows. Now, here's the thing. We've got to get over the seller's feeling of, I don't want my nosy neighbors in my house. So during our marketing consultation, that initial consultation, we're telling them, hey, we're going to go ahead and address that elephant, and we're going to get it right up front. Before the home goes on the market, just how I said we might have some of the exclusive teams come in who are selling a lot. We might piggyback that with, you know what, why don't we just go ahead and get everyone who's interested, who wants to know why someone was here 3 months ago and they saw all the rental trucks and everything. They know you put a pool in, but your hedges are too high. They can't see. They want to look. Let's let them look. Let's tell them to put it on social media, right? And then we'll get that out of the way. So absolutely, the twilight event is something that we do, that I believe in, that works very well. So here is the goal. Here's what we currently do. Here's what our goal is after today. Okay, we want you to know exactly what your action plan is and how to implement that. Okay, so these are the action steps. Now you all are going to be sent this, all right, and it will be uploaded, so you don't have to write everything down. Now, this is all before the open house takes place. All right, now do you understand why I said it's a lot of work to have a successful open house? Because many times what we'll do is, most of the time we're reactive to the seller. The seller is going to say, what are you going to do to sell my property? And you're going to say, I'm going to do an open house. Great, I want one on Saturday. And you're like, today's Thursday. Like, yeah, I want an open house on Saturday. Okay, but a couple of things, and this is something that we want to communicate how we do our open house to our sellers, like during the initial consultation, but also, real quick, how many of you do not have listings right now? How many of you do not have listings? Okay, it is a thing, and people always balk at me or they come back, they say, Neil, there's no way it works. Listing agents will allow you to do open houses on their listings. It happens for my agents every day. It's happening for agents all around the marketplace if you just ask, all right? Find a great way would be to find a seasoned single agent, listing agent, who's really good and you see all of their listings are turning over. Find a really good single agent who specializes with the listing side and ask them if you can hold their house open. More times than not, especially if you give them your plan of what you do and how you execute, most of the time they will be open to saying, yes, you can do it. First thing, select a date 2 weeks out. We need 2 weeks. Really, to have a great open house, you need at least 2 weeks. And you'll see why in one moment when we start talking about everything here. If you do postcards, I believe in postcards for specific properties. If mine are 550,000 and up. If it's 550 and more, I'm ordering postcards and having them scheduled and in the mailboxes at least 3 days, a minimum of 3 days prior to the event. Okay? Because I don't want it 7 days out, but I don't. Okay? So I want it to be arriving in their mailboxes, and all the open house, all the postcards are going to say, we have an exclusive open event or a maximum exposure event or open house, whatever you want to call it. on this date from this time, look forward to seeing you. What I do is, because I want to make sure that my marketing is targeted, if you bring this postcard, you'll get 2 entries into the raffle, right? Everything that we do, we have a raffle. Wendy asked for business cards earlier, right? So a couple of things that I do is, instead of having sign-up sheets, because you walk into the door and you have the sign-up sheet, hey, the seller wants you to sign in, everyone's like, Mickey Mouse, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm having something, just a small piece of paper. A couple of reasons I do this is, one, to actually get them engaged, because who here likes free? Everyone likes free and they like to win, right? So now what we're doing is, everyone that comes to an open house, you'll get a lotto ticket, right? If you come in, you fill one of these in, you get a $1 lotto ticket. Now, for $1, they have a chance at winning 10,000. Will I fill this out? Absolutely. And I'll drop it in. Now, what do I have? I have their info, all right? So one of the things you say, well, Neil, if it's a regular raffle, they can still put the wrong info in here. When I do my raffles, I ask them to put their social media handle on the bottom. So it says name, email, phone number. What are your current real estate needs? Considering selling, considering buying, or just looking. And then I want them to put their social media handle down there, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. The reason being, I'm telling them, make sure you sign in, register for the raffle. We're going to announce the winner on social media. That's going to be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Why do we do that? Because if I can get into their Instagram or their social media network, I'm in. You guys got me. If I tag them on something on Facebook, they not only them see it, guess who else sees it? All of their friends, all of their family, all of their circle. So instead of the sign-in sheet, this is what I'm using, and I'm getting a much higher sign-in rate. Another one that you can do is that if you're going to be doing a broker's open, we always do those feedback forms. What are your thoughts on the price? Now, I specifically I almost mandate that my team do brokers opens on properties or listings when I think that we've taken a property and the price is too high, right? If it's one where we've taken the listing in the neighborhood, but I think it's overpriced, I don't necessarily always want my agents to walk away from that listing. I want to get it, but then I'm going to tell my agents, hey, we need to and have some professionals come in, give their opinions on the price, on the condition, on the anticipated days on market, the market activity, because now when I provide that feedback to my seller, it's not just Neil telling them that we're too high. We've had this team, these brokers, these agents, who because they're selling a lot of properties in the area, right? And so that's something that I found that helps me. Any questions so far?
No, that's a great idea.
All right, property packets. Now this is one that I no longer do, but I'll tell you why. I used to create property packets about the property with a lot of detailed information, and I would put it in one of these that I got from Office Depot. I always want to say Home Depot. From Office Depot, super cheap, Walmart, wherever you want to go, right? I would put a property packet in here, but then I was thinking, well, what's a better way for me to do it? Because remember, we talked about the vision, what's the plan, the action, what's the goal of it? My purpose is not for them to get information on the property. My purpose for all of this is for me to get their information, all right? So what I did, how many of you are familiar with list reports? You all have seen agents or lenders that have list reports, right? So what I did, this is a sign writer. This is intended to be purchased through list reports, and you put it on your actual sign that you hang up, okay, on the outside of the property. What I did was I'm like, hey, how can I get all of their information and give them the information they want? So I print this right here. This is a sign writer. I flip it landscape, and I print it on a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I turn it into a tree tent or TP. And I put that throughout the entire property. I'll have it when they come into the house. I'll have it in the bathrooms, places where I'm not going to always be where they're looking. I have it in the bedroom because they'll come in, they'll say, do you have any any information on the property? Now, this is something that you might want to tweak depending on the neighborhood and the consumers that you're anticipating coming in. If you're going to be in a neighborhood, not that 55 and over aren't using text messages, but they are, right? And so that was one of the things. The first rebuttal I got was, Neil, you know, we're selling in a place where, you know, the median age is about 65 years old. I don't think they're going to be doing it. I'm like, yeah, you have no idea about your audience, right? So I just have this all the way through, and here's how I do that to me, because once you text it, if you have the location on, it's going to bring up either the property where I'm doing the open house on, but if the GPS location is not on, it's going to bring up every house that's in my List Hub's report or in my List Hub portal, so they'll see the quality of properties that I do open houses on. For realtors, this is a lender. This is a lender thing. For realtors, it is nothing. It's free. So I have a couple of lenders. Now I have list reports with 3 lenders, right? They add you, you know, they go in, hey, do this, okay, yeah, blah, great. So I have list reports with 3 lenders, and then that's why you'll see my text code. The one that lets me know which lender this is going, because the leads are going to come to you as a realtor and to your lender. That's the benefit of the lender that you're using, right? So I have 3. So I have just WRRE, then I have 1, and then I have 2. So depending on how good that lender has been to me in the past couple of weeks or months, and also the type of property that it is. If it's a first-time buyer property, they're going to my WRRE1. Because that lender is really good with hand holding and working with those clients. If it is where it might be a jumbo loan type deal, yes, I'm still doing these on jumbo loan on properties that are up there in price, right? Not because for them to actually get any lending, but just so that I can get their information. So I'll have that all the way throughout the house. I have my phone on silent or vibrate. And when someone comes in and they're saying, hey, do you have any brochures? You know, in an effort to be more environmentally friendly, we're doing everything digitally, right? Now remember, that's what we're saying.
Very clever.
But what I know is, if you're the type of guy, you're taking care of the environment, you suck. Okay, probably I don't want to deal with you in real life, right? In business transaction, but no one says that outright. They're going to come in and say, well, what? I said, well, here, you want me to text, you want me to drive, I'll drive for you. Text it, and then the information comes straight to their phone, and it brings up a mobile website where they have everything there, and they can search other properties, but it's always going to have my info. And for realtors, it's free. So now you just need to find it. You can go to, well, I'll get you the information so then you can get with some lenders or whatever and then get it taken care of. But for me, because now I come in, they're going to see a property specific website, and it's going to be branded to me. Even if, let's say that I don't have a listing. Your name, ma'am? Grace, right?
Yeah.
So let's say if let's say Grace has a listing. She's going to let me do an open house on her listing. I go into list reports a couple of days in advance. I put in the property address, the email number. It's going to auto-populate all of that information, and it's going to tell me. Now it's going to create a property specific website for her listing that's branded for me.
The alternate solution to that, like if we didn't want to, you know, go through that step, partnering up with that vendor, because that vendor is not part of our vendor list, is to use the Go MLS Miami. And the Go MLS Miami, every single one of your listings is automatically listed, and you go under my list. So if you get someone that says, oh, I want more information, you know, whatever, you can say, listen, what's your number? And then you text with them.
Right.
That would be like your plan B.
Is that a service through the MLS?
No. So this is a
Third-party
it's a third party vendor that lenders pay to be a part of. So it's just something that I find that works very well, and that keeps me from creating property packets. Now, what I will create, I will do one printout with it will say, and all it is going to be recent sales, and I'll use the MLS multi-row view, and then I will have other active properties that are surrounding our subject property. So I will have the active ones first, and then I'll have the comps or the recently sold, and then on there I'll write in red office copy, right? So I want them to look at it.
Tie it with a string to the drawer.
So I'm right here in the front. I want them to look at it, and as they're leaving or coming in, if this property didn't meet your needs here, we have a list of others in the neighborhood. I'll be happy to schedule a time to show for you, right? Everyone okay there? Print and prepare buyer and seller book. So this is usually something you want to do well in advance. So my buyer book, and this is something, my buyer book is this is nothing more than a photo album that I did from Peekaboo, or you can do it from
Mr. Print does it, and
who else? Yeah, Shutterfly. And so all my, so you see this one is Peekaboo, the other one is Shutterfly, and all it is, this is just my book that tells how awesome I am. That's it. And in there, it just has testimonials. It talks about what we do on the listing side. I have another one for buyers. And I just, once again, I just stand these up throughout the property, okay? So that when they're walking through the house, I'm not there everywhere they go. I just want them to say, okay, this guy here knows about marketing. It's all about exposure. Because what do we know? We know that people who are coming into the property might not buy that property. Actually, less than 2% of the time they actually buy the property. But we also know that potential sellers are coming in to see what type of marketing we're going to do. This is why we want everyone in that neighborhood coming to the open house. We want them to see what it is that we do. All right, Facebook ad. Usually we have the Facebook ad start a day before the event and end the day of.
What was that again?
Facebook ad. So right now, if you want to do an ad, it's fine. I believe in doing a post now and then boosting the post. Okay. Instead of So for me, yes. Because I found that I don't want a big part of my budget coming in there. I want my face to be out there. And then when I choose, because don't forget that Facebook has changed their advertising rules for housing, open houses, and the, I believe it's the geolocation now, right? So you can't, and see, so that makes it really hard. But boosting a post, I found that if I boost it just for exposure, because the reason I'm doing this is not to get people to come to the open house, it's for them to see my marketing efforts, okay? The 20 to 25 special event signs. Now that is where we're going to make sure that we have as many of those open house signs as possible, or special event, whatever it is. And we want to have those ready so that on the day of, we're putting those out all over the place. Call your sphere to invite them. I always invite my current buyers or my current sellers, my past sellers, past buyers. I always invite them to almost every open house I have, just so they can see that I'm still active. And I tell them, hey, if you're in the neighborhood, if you want to come hang out, we'll have a good time, right? And the reason I do that is not so much for them to attend, but it's for them to know that they can get some of my time. Yes, sir.
Hey, how do you feel about it? I always invite my friends. I tell them, listen, free wine. Listen, and I invite my friends.
Okay.
I know they're not looking, but it's always nice when you walk into an open house if there's another buyer.
And see, here's the thing.
And for safety reasons, I highly recommend it.
So that's part of the way how we can guarantee. Remember, I said we're going to guarantee our open house is a success, right? So what I do is I make my agents. Usually they're going to be there the last 15 minutes of the open house, because I want them there when that seller pulls back up if it's an owner-occupied property, right? If a seller pulls up and there are 7 people in the property, I'm going to say, we're almost done here, Kate. No, take your time. Take all the time you need. What is the seller going to say right now? And this is the truth is, their perception is your reality. If they show up, you could have 20 people come through the open house. If they didn't see them, they're going to be like, Did you get an offer? No. It was a waste of time, right? Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that you probably have someone at the tail end of your open house there, so that when the seller comes in, let them see a few cars in the driveway. Get the feedback forms filled out. Whatever it is, you can tell your people, hey, what do you think? Oh, well, we like this, we don't like this, we think this is too much. Even if they are uninformed, if they're not professionals, they can still have an opinion. That's all feedback forms are, right? And so now when everyone is there, if it's your friends, if it's going to be your past clients in your sphere, that's when you're shooting video and photos. You want to, hey, here, Bobby, take a photo of me over here doing it. Like, wait, hold on, who was there for him? Who took a photo of him and the 6 or 7 people? Right? Why? Because we have to repurpose and use everything we do. Now, even if the house doesn't sell during the open house, what? The videos that we're putting out, the photos that we're putting out, the photos that we're going to put into our seller books or into our marketing consultations. That's why I say we can guarantee, and something as simple as a video of an open house can result in you making money or getting a referral lead from an out-of-town agent who says, I have a seller, I see, and this is how I say most of my business comes. Most of my business comes from agents who are outside of our market area, and they just see what I do marketing-wise. right? They're like, hey, other agents might do it, but they aren't telling us or showing us, right? And there's no better time. If you're going to put all this work into an open house, why not create something and have something that you're going to use for months and years later? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Any questions right there? All right, and don't forget, all of this is before the open house begins. That's why we go into so many mediocre open houses. We don't go to excellent open houses because people aren't willing to do this work. Call your sphere and invite, create financing option sheets with the assistance of a lender. And everyone knows what the financial option sheet is. Like for instance, if they put 10% down, 5%, well, how much? A lot of times now, you have the mortgage calculator on your phone, right? If you want to have something like that. So for me, I have my computer open all the time, and I have it tethered to my phone, and I just have my website up so they can go in and look at my website and do everything right there. A welcome sign overlooked many times. I have a welcome sign, depending on, it says, welcome to our open house, explore and have fun, imagine yourself here, thanks for coming. Or the other one says, welcome to our open house, we're so glad you're here, take a look around, let us know what you think, have a question, we have the answers. And all I'm doing, I'm using a 3M clip, and I'm just putting this on the front door or something like that. And I also have another that says, we'll be back soon, right? And that's if. I will leave my open houses early. I will shut down an open house if a seller comes in and says, hey, I'm thinking about selling my property. Can you do a consultation right now? If it's in the neighborhood, I'm scrapping my open house. This is a business decision for me. Remember, we talked about IPAs and DPAs. I'm scrapping my open house, and I'm saying, hey, I can be there in 20 minutes. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I'll put the sign up. If one of my agents or my wife or someone can't be there to hold it open for me, I'll just say we close the open house early, and then I'm back before the seller gets back. That's a business decision I made. But when we start talking about what's the goal, right? Because action plan, now or plan action, I know that if my goal is to get more listings, if someone says, hey, I'm ready now, I jump on it. All right, will there be food or beverages? This is something that you have to, a decision that you have to make. I never have food or beverages at any of my open houses. Here's why. In my market area, there's a couple reasons. First, respectfully, I don't care if you're hungry or comfortable when you come to my open house. I want you in. I know what I want. I know what I want from you. And that sounds harsh, but then also I know it's like brokers open, get the food, hang out, chat, use some AC and go, right? So when I'm in there, I'm very, like I said, this is the Bible according to Neil. You all don't have to read it. I am in there and I know what I want from them, get the information. And then I always have water in a cooler. I always have water in a cooler, and I usually have some type of little small chocolate candies or something like that. Those are for the people who have been there for 10, 15 minutes asking questions. Wait, you know what? Hold on. Would you like some water? Right? Because those are the ones that if you're just coming in and doing this, no. If you want to have a conversation with me, would you like some water? You know what? I keep this for my VIP and everything because we want to make everything a show. Okay, you all with me there? Now, one of the reasons why I don't have any food or beverages, one is because usually the properties that we're doing, I don't want to get them dirty. And then also people's allergies right now. I know we in here, we're like, allergies, what's an allergy? We never heard of allergies, right? We never had allergies growing up. It was if you got sick, go sit down, take a nap, you'll be okay. But now with the number of allergies and then people's preferences, I don't do food. Something else here, talk about the food also is the smell. Like my wife has a very, very, very acute sense of smell. So if she smells anything, and we talked about the 5 senses, right? Making sure that it smells good, looks good, feels good, all of that. If she comes in and if there's a smell that she doesn't like, the house is done. I don't care what the house looks like, it's over and done. So what I do is, for instance, in Pembroke Pines area down in Southwest where I am, there's a lot of different cultures living in neighborhoods. For instance, one of my clients might be from India, and just the way the way the house smells because of the food they cook could be something totally different from an Eastern European, right? They come in and they're like, nah, right? If I come in, people say they love the smell of baked cookies. Not everyone does. I'm not a baked goods guy, baked foods guy. And so that's something that I'll tell you how we overcome that. Marketing consultation presentation. If at your open house, if you are not ready to do a marketing consultation or a listing presentation, you are not ready for an open house. Every time I get into my car, I have with me my complete home marketing plan. We go to the beach. Guess what I have with me? My complete home marketing plan, right? Because if I'm at the beach and someone says, oh, you're in real estate, I want to sell. Hey, well, you know what? Great. Here, I have our complete home marketing plan. Make sure you have this with you everywhere, because the worst thing that you can do during an open house is have an opportunity to make money and not be prepared for it. Okay, and now it usually does not happen during the open house. What usually happens is they'll schedule a time for you afterward. But if I have someone who's thinking about selling, I pull this out right here and I'll say, Grace, here's my complete home marketing plan, how I'm going to be a megaphone to the marketplace. If you want to review that right now while you're here, then in 30 minutes, I'll come to your house and I'll go through it with you. At least then they know that I'm prepared. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions? All right, testimonial blow-ups. For me, it's in my books, but what I found is that when I say something about myself, it's bragging. When someone else says it about me, it's a testimonial, right? So what I did was real satisfied. Wherever you have your testimonials, I believe a couple of things. Wherever you have your testimonials, get them, print them out, laminate them with these little self-laminating sheets from Walmart, Office Depot. And then, just as I have my book throughout the property, just as I have my tents throughout the property, I have this right here. And this one says, we are so grateful Nilos Jr. was referred to us by a friend. Not only was he attentive to our search criteria and flexible, he went above and beyond in helping our two small children and keeping our two small children out of trouble while we looked at houses. Now that we found a home, Neil continues to check in to see if we need anything. We highly recommend Neil to anyone. Now, and then it has Michael and Russell, and then the city where they purchased in, right? So if I say that about me, hey, you should use me, I'm pretty good, I take care of kids while you're looking at properties, right? That's one. Now, another one that I want to show you right here, and you'll see a trend. Moving here from out of state is nerve-wracking. Neil worked with us and was very patient. We found an amazing home and a new friend. Thank you for all your help, time, and even entertaining the children. All right, you guys see where this is going, right? So now I get referred and I get more people coming in into an open house with their kids, and they're like, okay, well, I'm like, no, you guys go ahead. And now when they see this, they're like, okay, that's my niche. That's my demographic. People with families on the listing side and on the buy side, and then they're coming back and saying the same thing. So I have these all throughout the properties, and so some of them have food stains on them from when kids grab them. Mr. Neal, they're talking about you, right? And I'm like, yeah, I talk about myself very well, right? And so these are the types of things that now I know that when I go through open houses, I don't see when I go through other agents' open houses, I never see a testimonial. Never. Have you guys gone through open houses and seen a testimonial about them, right? Now, what happens when you do that? When you do that and someone comes in and says, if an agent comes in, they're going to be like, yeah, it's okay, sucks, yeah, right? But then think about it when a buyer or a potential seller comes in. Now, I'm not telling them about myself. Someone else comes in and they're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Right. It's just like the plaques on the wall. And this right here. And this right here has probably resulted in, next to the videos that I do that show other agents outside of my market area, what I do for marketing, these simple things right here where you print them out on your computer and laminate them yourself, this has resulted in more exclusive buyer, broker agents, agency agreements being signed than anything else. When agents come in, or when buyers come in, or prospects come in and they see that, then they'll say, okay, that's the type of person I want to work with. Does that make sense? Okay, will there be a raffle? If there is going to be a raffle, have your little raffle entry paper so you can fill those out, put them in, and say you're going to announce the raffle on certain date on social media. And you can say, but then you want to make sure that you tag and say, hey, is it okay if I tag you if you win, right? And so if I say that, if I say, hey, and your name once again, love? Serena. If I say, Serena, if you win, is it okay if I tag you in social media? Who's going to say no, right? We want to be seen as winners. Now, another reality. Guess who's likely to win the raffle? Now, sometimes I will let my son or my wife choose the raffle. Sometimes, if it's someone that I really want to get in front of again, there might be two winners to that raffle. You all get it? So yes, there will be a legit winner, but then like for instance, if Serena came and she was amazing, and she talked about, she's thinking about buying and thinking about selling, and she has a friend here and she actually got one of my bottles of water, Grace might win the real raffle. But guess who else is going to win a raffle? Serena's going to win a raffle, and both of them are going to be tagged on social media, right? Because now the next time we have an event, someone say, oh, well, I want to win the raffle. Does that make sense? Do a promo teaser video for social media. That's going to be on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I'm doing it all over the place. And then memo, you'll see here at the end, arrange time with team or colleagues to attend your open house. So you want to make sure that, I know you thought you were brilliant, like you were the only one that had that idea, right?
I think that's what made me brilliant.
So this is something that you do want to go ahead and put into your marketing plan or into your open house plan.
For us, it would be our WhatsApp group. What a great option to maybe 2 days before the event, tell the realtors, hey guys, come the last 15 minutes of my open house.
We'll even put your teaser video there.
Yeah. But utilize the fact that we have 250 agents on our WhatsApp group.
That's amazing.
Eager to come have a cupcake.
And see, once again, that's something that every brokerage doesn't make available for their agents. So you all should be taking advantage of that if they're doing it to make your business easier. All right. Number one, now this is during the open house. So we're almost done because the pre-planning is the most work, as you all see. To actually set up and do the open house, I think it's fairly easy. It's the energy and the time put in ahead of time that's going to make your business or make your open houses just excel. Arrive an hour to an hour and a half early for open houses. Like, Neil, why? Right? But it's going to take you an hour to an hour and a half to be ready, and then with 5 or 10 minutes for you to decompress and get relaxed. Get everything. So my first rule, as Memo said, is to first, try not to do an open house by yourself. And this is for my ladies or my gentlemen. It doesn't matter, right? Just on the side of safety. So unfortunately, my wife, who is not a realtor, has sat in more open houses than any spouse should have to, right? She gets to read all her books, watch Netflix, all that good stuff. But have someone go with you. Okay, and then arrive early. Get everything inside the property. My idea is get everything inside the property from your vehicle, get in, do a quick walk, make sure that everything is secure, lock the door behind you, and then go to work, right? What we don't want is for safety and then just for logistics and to make sure that we're as efficient as possible, I don't want you going back and forth to your car 3 and 4 and 5 times. Get everything in the house, get the AC turned on. My first walkthrough is the very first thing I do is I get an air neutralizer. I don't use scents. I don't use candles. I get an air neutralizer and I'm spraying that through the entire house. I don't care how clean it is. I don't care if the sellers, have their own scents. Usually I'm going through spraying an air neutralizer through the entire house. 2 levels, basement, garage, whatever it is. Okay, that's my first walkthrough. My second one is I'm going through and I'm decluttering or staging the property. If I see stuff that the seller thinks is cute, that they leave out, that I know is horrible, I'm getting it and I'm putting it in a closet somewhere. Or if things need to be tweaked, that's my second walkthrough. So right now, we've sprayed, we've come through, we've walked through, get rid of that. All of my marketing material is still by the front door. We haven't done anything with that. Now my third walkthrough, this is when we start getting into into marketing mode. We distribute the marketing materials, these tents and things. Now that I've walked through the house twice, I've seen where would be a good place for me to put something like this. My book, my testimonials, open house packets. So not the open house packets, now it's going to be this right here, the TP tent. Fourth walkthrough, we want to tour the home as if you were a buyer and make final adjustments. And this means 2 things. This means coming in from the front door and going through the house. But what we forget about is when we're leaving the property. So I want you to have your buyer eyes on as you're coming in, going into the bathroom, going into the kitchen. Bathrooms, of course, we make sure that the seats are down, right? But then when we're leaving the property, for instance, if I was leaving a property, and let's say I came in this way right here, and let's say if I was leaving and if I had this up right here, London Foster so awesome, they have something on both sides.
Boom.
Right? If I was not thinking about leaving the property, I would say, guess what this would be? This would be a white piece of paper. You all understand what I'm talking about, right? So maximize every opportunity you have to, it's the same principle that Disney does. Going and coming, what do you see? For going, you see welcome, welcome home, da 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 da. Leaving, can't wait to see you again, come back. They're making the same sign, okay, double-sided. So if that's going to be your sign, you might want to have a reminder about entering the raffle. Did you like what you see? Make sure you leave comments, anything like that. You want to take advantage of everything. You guys are good. You guys, see, look, I'm always checking.
Who did that?
Bobby.
Yeah? How's that working out for you?
So do you all understand what I'm saying? So make sure you tour it, going in and coming out. The next thing you want to do, you want to place the special event signs, right? Or the open house signs. The way we want to do that is we want to start furthest away from the house. Don't make the first sign that you put out, the one that's right in front of the house, open house, boom. Now I've got to go down to the street corner and put those up. But guess what happens every time you do that? More times than not, just because life has a funny way, it says, okay, I'm going to go down here and I'm putting up these signs and wait, why are there people? Why are people at the? Oh my gosh, I'm not ready, right? So we usually want to start furthest away and plan your route, of course. Start furthest away, and then as you're going up, put the one in front of the house last. Everyone okay with that idea? Take videos and photos of your event. We get stuck in the open house, talking to people, doing things. If you can't do the video or the photo, take someone along with you who will just take photos and video. It can be of the setup. The reason I love having my wife with me when I'm getting ready is I love someone just walking behind me, showing. Now, if you tell me that you hold amazing open houses and you put a lot of work into it, it's one thing. If you show me, it's something totally different. You all agree? Yes, sir.
On that same note, I just wanted to suggest something. Always turn on the shower, flush the toilets, turn on the sinks, turn on the kitchen sink, especially in a house that's vacant. Someone who's going to walk in, they're going to turn on that. All of a sudden, like, oh, there's a problem with the piping. So just turn it on, let it run for a few minutes. That's one. And the other thing is open up blinds, open up curtains, turn on lights. Oh, but it's light outside. Doesn't matter. Always, the more light, the better. And if you have a bad view, then that's the one you leave the blinds closed. You know?
And continuing on what I kind of touched on earlier, thinking like a marketer, a lot of agents have been kind of talking to me about, you know, when they're at an open house, what should I put on video? What kind of pictures do I need to do? And they get kind of nervous or worried or don't even take an action because they're thinking so much hypercritically about their photo or their video. But kind of like what Neil's saying, take a picture or video, anything. It's all interesting to your viewer, your setup or your car or your open house sign, or you just like, don't be discouraged or don't be hypercritical of what picture or what video you need to do. It's literally anything that has to do with that house or you.
Something is better than nothing.
Right, and people are gonna look at you like you know what you're doing, even if you kind of don't.
Absolutely. So the next one, keep your eyes open for cues. For instance, if you see someone that continues to go back to the kitchen and they're looking at it and they're doing this right here, I'm probably going to say, is the kitchen big enough? Are you having a question whether or not the size of the kitchen works for you? And then, of course, ask questions. So I think a lot of times, as I was saying with the photos and the video, I think that we get so stuck on, okay, let me close for an appointment, close for a sale, that we're not seeing what our attendees are telling us. So just make sure you have your eyes open for cues and ask questions. So I'm not the type, now you could be totally different. I'm not the type to follow and hover around every buyer that's around. So what I will tell them is, hey, feel free to walk around the property, do your look. Now, depending on what's in the property, of course, we're asking sellers to secure all of this. Now, I'm saying that's common sense, but not in a mean way, okay? So make sure that that the property is secure, that there are no valuable items left out, because I like for buyers and attendees to walk around and look at the property at their leisure. And then I say, hey, I'm going to be here to answer any questions that you might ask. And don't be surprised if I ask you questions as you walk through. Right? And then I'm like, why would he ask me questions? And the questions that I'm going to ask are just going to be things that open up conversation. You know, what did you think about that bathroom? I had some people who really like it and some people didn't like the subway tile, right? And then I didn't even realize the subway tile, especially if it's something that I want to bring their attention to. If it's a skylight. So what do you think about that a skylight that opens and closes with the remote button or with the switch over there? They're like, which one? The one in the master bedroom. They're like, I didn't see it. And then, yeah, go take a look at it. It's the button on the right side of the wall. So when I say ask questions, and the reason that's in all caps is I want to ask questions that's going to point them back to something I want them to look at or spend more time with, okay? Especially if it's a selling feature. All right, so we've done before, during, now after. Send thank you video messages to all attendees. We have their registration forms here with their phone numbers on it probably, right? Usually what I'm doing is, if the open house slows down and they're gone, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Grace phone number. I'm going to put it into my phone. I'm going to do a quick, hey Grace, thank you so much for coming to our property at 123 Southampton Street. Look, let me know if there's anything I can do. And I'm sending it to her, right? Now the reason I do that now, I don't know how many of you are on Android phones, but recently Android has made a change where I can only send a 1 megabyte video to Apple users, but I can send a 100 megabyte video to Android users, which makes no sense, right? That's like an hour-long video. So what I've had to start doing, No. I'm sending it as an MMS, yes, to text. So then what I started doing is I just started going through WhatsApp because, of course, if they have WhatsApp, then it doesn't compress the video or it doesn't change the quality of the video. But I'm sending a quick thank you message, an individualized one-off thank you video message because, once again, I want them to see me, feel me, know who I am. Recap, I do a social media recap video. And it could be something as, I love the ones where people see me setting up for it, the open house, and I'll do a sped up version, like 2 or 3 times faster. So they see me running, you know, as I'm putting up signs, as they'll see me, you know, spraying the air neutralizer through the house. That's a recap video. And then I'll say, I want to thank everyone for coming out to our open house at this property. Can't wait for the next one. Or if you're interested in more properties like this, make sure you give me a call. My info is at the bottom of the video. All right. Announce the raffle winner on social media. As I said, Serena, you are going to win if you were one of the ones that got one of my special bottles of water. All right. Follow up and deliver promised emails, calls, or material. Let's say that if we were in there and Bobby came in and he said, well, I'm interested in getting more information on the area. Great. I'll send you comps. I'll send you recent sales. I'll send you things that are currently available. If you promise to send someone something, get it to them as quickly as possible. If it's going to be, hey, you know, I'll send you a CMA on your property. Get that out as quickly as possible. And then we want to add the leads to the database, whatever your CRM is that you're using. Make sure you get those in there because that's one of the biggest waste of energy and effort that we do is getting all this information. And then it goes on our desk or it goes in our pockets and we never follow up. Because that's one of the main reasons why we're doing an open house and make it successful is to get contacts, add them to our database, to our have-mets, and then to cultivate them. And then we want to provide feedback to the seller. Now, I always set up my sellers to know that they're going to get feedback 48 hours after the open house. I need 48 hours to compile all the information and then I'll get that back to you. So whether it's going to be the number, how many people showed up? I don't recall right now. And remember, you get that 48 hours and then the impressions and part of the feedback that we're going to have is I want to see how many impressions my social media had, how many views the videos had on Facebook, on Instagram. And if it's very important where I didn't have as many people physically show up, then I will boost the post after the open house so I can get more impressions and views. And then when I send that link to the sellers, they'll see, well, I only had 15 people physically show up, but I had 400 views of the video of the open house. And then I had this requests, these comments on there. And as now I am also having friends, family members comment on the video. I'm having them ask questions about the size of the lot, you know, so once again, their perception is our reality. All right, so if they believe that people are interested in asking questions, or if they make a comment, I'll say, Fremo is one of my really good friends. Fremo, would you go in and would you say this about the fence in the backyard, the broken fence in the backyard kind of took away from the exterior appeal of it? He'll add that in there, and then I can show that to the seller. Yes, sir.
No, I was gonna say that one of the, I always do that because, you know, we always have slow moments in an open house. I usually do a 4-hour open house because to me, I don't think it's worth it, the prep and everything for 2 hours. So what I usually do is I have a scripted thank you email that says, thank you, I know this is not for you. Here are some suggestions on other properties you might like. Or I have another one that says, thank you, I saw that you had some interest. Here are the comps on this unit or whatever. So I already have it. Do the search on the MLS. So I attach the link. So by the time that the client is literally walking out the door, I'm able to send them a thank you.
Right.
And what ends up happening most of the time is that you walk out of an open house, everyone's got their phone, and you're walking out and 30 seconds later, I'm sending you a thank you note. They're like, oh, dude, thanks. Wow, you're quick. You know, it's usually like a comment versus I'm gonna send it to you by 5 o'clock in the afternoon after you've already forgotten who I am. So now they've interacted with me. Now I have their auto signature. Now they, you know, now it's like a little bit different. And in regards to the seller, I do the same thing. I have a scripted, you know, oh, as of today, this is the date of the open house. This was a time. It's very smart. But I do tell them this is how many people came in. This is my perception of what they were, whether they were, you know, hot, cold, medium, whatever. But I already have it pre-scripted so that in a matter of 30 seconds, I'm able to plop in 3 numbers. But that's really smart about waiting 48 hours.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Good, because you all have survived. And now I know that you all are going to get this uploaded onto your back office. But this is how you can get there. It's a folder to a Dropbox for everything that I have up here, and then how you can create your own. Okay, and it's not branded for my company. This is only just the open house. It's really the action steps that I talked about there. It does have the entire presentation in there. The presentation isn't as useful because none of my photos have words on them. So unless you all were in here, you wouldn't know what we were talking about, right? But the S and the O must be capitalized if you're going to go to this link. So it does successful and open. The S and the O does need to be capitalized, and there is no .com anywhere. So it's bit.ly/successful open with the capital S and the capital O. All right, everyone good?